My family said I'd make the wedding uncomfortable. They stated it like weather. Factual, inevitable, not cruel. My mother's tone was steady. My sister's fiancé grinning in the corner. Just try not to ruin your sister's big day this time, okay? She added it gently, as if embarrassment were some kind of kindness. No yelling. No argument. Just quiet rejection dressed up as grace. That morning I stood at the window and watched them pull out of the driveway. The car loaded with roses, ribbons, and empty promises. I didn't follow. I stayed home, tracing the sunlight across the floorboards, wondering how celebration could require someone's disappearance. By nightfall, the news spread. Their perfect day had gone up in flames. I grew up in a house where silence passed for affection, where my mother's love was a nod, and my father's pride came in small, polite smiles. My sister, Nyla, was always the bright one. The golden child everyone rushed to shield, even from herself. I was the fixer, the one who cleaned the wreckage, patched the holes, and made everything appear unbroken before anyone noticed the damage. Maybe that's why I became a restoration contractor. I liked mending what others destroyed. Old homes, worn furniture, occasionally even people. When Nyla announced her engagement, I truly wanted to be happy for her. I helped her pick out flowers, measured the yard for extra chairs, even paid the venue deposit when her card bounced. That's what family does, I told myself. But the closer the wedding drew, the more I was quietly pushed out. Group chats went still. Planning calls accidentally happened without me. At first, I thought it was an oversight. Then I realized it was deliberate. Mom became the go-between, her voice soft but rehearsed, the same tone she used when a decision had already been made for me. It's going to be small, she said. We just want things to be peaceful. Peaceful for who? I asked. She sighed, heavy and practiced. Just try not to ruin your sister's day, okay? That line lodged in my chest like stone. I wanted to ask when I'd ever ruined anything, if covering Nyla's debts, watching her kids, or I couldn't completely shut it out. I sat on the floor beside my half-filled toolbox, the scent of varnish still clinging to my fingers. What if I actually showed up at the wedding? Would they glare at me? Would Nyla burst into tears? Would Travis flash that smug grin and call me dramatic again? I picture myself outside those ballroom doors, unseen, but still somehow in the way. No, I wasn't going. Not this time. I'd spent my entire life patching up what they shattered, disguising their mistakes, sweeping up their chaos, pretending everything was fine. But families like mine don't seek peace. They crave submission disguised as forgiveness. I closed my eyes and listened to the storm clawing at the roof. Somewhere in that noise was freedom, the kind that only comes when you stop begging to be included. Down the block, a transformer blew, throwing everything into darkness. My reflection disappeared from the window, leaving only me and the steady rhythm of the rain. Maybe this is what starting over sounds like, I thought. But peace doesn't linger long in my family. A few hours later, when the lights flickered back on, the world returned, and it was burning. That night, the storm finally broke. Lightning tore across the windows, white and violent, slicing the sky apart. I was sprawled on the couch, the TV murmuring some home renovation rerun I wasn't really watching. I told myself I didn't care what was happening at Ridgewood. I'd made the right call. Staying away was strength. Then my phone started to buzz, once, twice, then endlessly. I ignored it at first, assuming it was more photos, more reminders of what I wasn't part of. But the vibrations didn't stop. They multiplied. Calls, texts, notifications from people I hadn't spoken to in years. I picked it up. The screen glowed with chaos. Are you seeing this? I muted the phone and placed its screen down on the table. The house sank back into silence, the only sound the steady tick of the clock. Far off, sirens echoed somewhere in the distance. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel shame. I felt free. The morning after the wedding, the sunlight felt wrong, too bright, too normal for everything that had unraveled. When I woke, my screen was buried under messages, headlines, and countless versions of the same video. It was everywhere now. TV, social media, news feeds, even looping silently on a cafe monitor while I waited for coffee. Local wedding ends in assault. The captions read, replaying that same blurry footage again and again. In the clip, Dee's white gown looked almost see-through beneath the chandeliers, her face streaked with mascara. You couldn't hear Travis's shout clearly, but the sound of the slap carried through, sharp, undeniable. The crowd's gas cut through the air every time I watched it. A bouquet dropped. Champagne splashed. Cameras flashed. That was the ending. They're forever frozen in 30 seconds of chaos. By noon, the story had spread far beyond Denver. Every outlet recycled the same fragments. Prominent engineer assaults bride during Ridgewood estate wedding. Some tabloids tossed in rumors about family strain. Others unearthed Nyla's failed cafe, calling her unlucky in business, unlucky in love. As for me, I wasn't mentioned anywhere, and honestly, I didn't mind. Being unseen finally felt like peace. The first knock came that afternoon. I didn't need to check the peephole. Only one person knocked like that. 3 quick raps, a pause, then 2 more. The rhythm of control. I opened the door. Mom stood there, face pale, hair pulled back into a messy bun that didn't suit her. She looked smaller, as if public humiliation had compressed her. "Rose," she whispered, stepping in before I could reply. "Your sister's resting. The police spoke with Travis this morning." I folded my arms. "You should probably sit." She didn't. Instead, she moved to the kitchen counter, the same spot where she lectured me months ago for not calling enough, and gripped it like it could hold her together. "It was awful," she said. "He just snapped. No one saw it coming." I stayed silent. Her eyes flicked toward me. "I know you're upset. You have every right. But please don't make this worse." That line almost made me laugh. "Worse? You told me not to come," I said. "I didn't, and it still fell apart. Tell me how that's my fault." "I never said it was," she murmured. "You didn't have to." For a long while, only the low hum of the refrigerator filled the room. Then, softly, "Your sister's asking for you." I let out a slow breath, trying to calm the mix of anger, guilt, and pity twisting inside me. "Of course she is." I wanted peace, but I shook my head. Peace doesn't come from pretending nothing happened. He didn't linger after that. Just placed a brown envelope on the workbench and walked away. Inside were copies of the loan papers, proof that the money I'd sent to help with the mortgage had been used to pay off Nyla's business debts instead. Each page was another cut, a record of how deep the lies ran. I could have confronted them then. I could have yelled, called the bank, reported the fraud. But I didn't. Not yet. Because revenge, I'd learned, isn't rage, it's timing. So I waited. A week later, a local reporter called asking for a statement. "You're Rose Alvarez, right?" "The bride's sister," she said. "We've heard there's more to the story." For a second, I almost spilled everything. The favoritism, the lies, the way my parents kept rewriting history every time Nyla failed. But then I remembered what silence had done for me so far. It hadn't just shielded me, it had revealed them. "No comment," I said, and hung up. That night, I drove past my parents' house. Reporters still lingered on the sidewalk, cameras pointed toward the glowing porch light. Through the curtains, I saw my mom pacing with the phone pressed to her ear. Dad slumped at the table, shoulders caved in. Upstairs, Nyla's shadow moved slowly, uncertain. I didn't stop. I kept driving. The next morning, I mailed the bank the copies of those documents, not anonymously, not spitefully, just truth delivered where it belonged. I didn't wait to watch what happened next. A month later, the house had gone silent. No reporters, no parties, no Christmas lights that year. My parents sold the place. Nyla picked up 2 jobs and started paying her own bills. No one thanked me, and that was fine. I wasn't looking for gratitude. Sometimes justice doesn't roar. Sometimes it just leaves you alone long enough for truth to echo. One evening, I sat on my porch, mountains blushing pink under the fading sun, a cool wind brushing past. I thought about the girl I used to be, the one who'd fix everything, do anything to keep the peace. She was gone now, replaced by someone who'd finally learned that not every house is worth rebuilding. My phone buzzed. A text from Nyla, "I'm sorry." I didn't realize how bad it was until it happened to me. I typed back, "Then don't repeat it." No lecture, no pity, just a clean line drawn in the sand. When I set the phone down, the sky had turned deep blue, still quiet. Somewhere beyond those mountains, the Ridgewood estate sat empty. The flowers wilted, the lights off, ghosts left behind in the dark. Their perfect day had burned down. And for once, I wasn't the one holding the match. Months passed. The chaos drifted away like smoke after a fire. The scandal faded into silence. New headlines took its place and the world moved on. But I couldn't unsee what I'd learned. How quickly love becomes conditional when control is threatened, and how easily family confuses silence with forgiveness. By spring, the Ridgewood estate reopened for new weddings. Out of curiosity, I drove past. The roses were gone, replaced by neat rows of tulips. No trace of what happened, polished floors, freshly painted walls. It all looked perfect again, untouched. But I knew better. You can wash blood off marble. You can't scrub guilt from memory. Nyla stayed quiet for a while. She rented an apartment, got a job at a florist, stopped leaning on others to rescue her. When she sent photos of her kids helping her unpack, I didn't feel resentment, only relief. Maybe she finally